So you have a choice to make, and you want to be objective. So you decide you're going to make a data-driven decision. Now, what is a data-driven decision? This is a practice of using data to convince yourself and everyone else that you're doing the right thing. The promise is huge. No more sleepless nights, and your management will love you. But comprehensive data collection is a chicken shit move, and here is why. Half of the stuff you have no motivation to take care of in the first place, and the other half you have no control over. So only measure the data in the intersection of both. Eating a banana will get you 2 blue squares of radioactive units. Now, living in a concrete building for a year is 700 times worse, and that'll get you 3 green squares of radioactive units. Both of these are very small levels, and nobody ever gets sick from any of these activities. This is an example of useless data. I have an example for you about choosing a data-driven decision that I made, which was to choose the best streaming video service. And what I did is I chose the service that had the highest number of minutes watching and the lowest amount of minutes viewing. This is Anthony Bourdain earning himself 300 greens by visiting Chernobyl. What are you going to do? So this is an example of analysis paralysis. Some unnamed person at Microsoft is deciding whether to leave the company, so of course a spreadsheet is required. I'll share it out. Here's an example of purposefully obfuscating data in order to influence future decisions. So when it comes time to cut the budget, you'll never be able to cut out lattes because it's completely buried under entertainment. You know, making decisions used to be fun. You used to go out for an ice cream cone, and when you couldn't choose a flavor, you would get a little sample on those tiny little spoons, and if you were still indecisive, you could get another sample. But these days, we want the data to solve even our most important life choices. We want the data to pick our spouse for us. We want the data to do everything for us. Which brings us to internet surveys. I thought this was classic. So internet surveys is a common technique in organizations who are using data to fill the void in leadership. The reason why internet surveys are a cop-out is because of the observer effect. This is a tree falling in the forest. The observer effect tells us that when you try to look at the data, it changes out from under you. Which brings us to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Yes, it does. Now, Heisenberg, yes, he looked like that. Heisenberg studied the observer effect as it applies to physics, but it also applies to real-life decisions, such as how did you end up with a cranky personality type? It could be just because you did a difficult form online. Now, Heisenberg's buddy Schrödinger taught us to believe that the cat is neither alive nor dead, that it's unresolved. Until you open the box. So what's the right balance to take when you're collecting data for your decision? Do you go with your gut, or do you seek external verification? Now, external verification can look like an act of humility, but it's actually an act of arrogance, because you get so much noise that way, and you cause so much noise as well. Let's talk about Zappos. Zappos doesn't worry about those chatty customer service calls affecting their bottom line. And Apple doesn't worry about those gratuitous animations affecting their performance, and they shouldn't collect data on those points. What they should measure is just the intersection of what you're motivated to take care of and what you have control over taking care of. And you can see that that was a much more pragmatic choice in terms of planning your data collection. Because leaders don't need noise in their data. They need small and salient data points in order to make decisions and rally the masses. So remember the radioactive banana hiding in your comprehensive data set. And remember how useless that information was. So learn from the banana and ignore the banana. Thank you.